My beloved child, come closer and listen with your heart, not with fear, not with the wounds you carry quietly, but with the part of you that still hopes even when you are tired of hoping. I know why you open this. I know the ache you try to hide behind strength. I know the questions you whisper late at night when no one hears them. I know the confusion that sits beside you like an uninvited guest. I see you. I have always seen you. And I need you to hear this gently, truthfully, and fully, because love does not always speak in easy sentences, but it always speaks with purpose. Yes, he loves you. That part is true. You did not imagine the way his energy shifts when your name enters his thoughts. You did not create the connection on your own. Love does not grow where there is nothing. What you felt was real. What you sensed was not foolishness. I do not mock your heart for believing, because I designed your heart to recognize sincerity. You recognized something authentic in him, and that recognition did not come from emptiness. It came from discernment. But love, my child, is not the only force at work here. Fear is present too, and her shadow still lingers in places he has not yet had the courage to clean. Do not misunderstand this message. I am not saying he belongs to her. I am not saying she has power over your destiny. I am saying that fear keeps doors half open and hearts divided. Fear makes people cling to familiar pain rather than step into unfamiliar healing. Fear whispers lies that sound like logic. Fear says, "What if I fail again?" Fear says, "What if I lose control?" Fear says, "What if I am not enough?" And fear often hides behind the memory of someone who once mattered deeply. Her shadow is not love. It is residue. It is unfinished emotion, unhealed history, unprocessed grief, and patterns that were never properly ended. A shadow cannot touch you, but it can darken his vision. And right now, he is still learning how to turn fully toward the light without flinching. That is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of his internal war. I need you to stop measuring yourself against someone who is not competing with you. Comparison is a thief that robs you of peace and hands it to insecurity. You are not second. You are not an option. You are not a placeholder. You are not waiting in line behind someone else's story. You are standing in your own calling, in your own timing, in your own season. If you were not significant, fear would not be so loud. If you did not matter, resistance would not be so strong. Understand this: when something precious approaches, everything unhealed rises to the surface. When real love appears, fear panics. When truth knocks, old lies scream. His hesitation is not because you lack value. It is because what you represent requires courage he is still building. You are not too much. You are simply real. And real love demands honesty, responsibility, and transformation. Not everyone is ready for that when it first arrives. I know it hurts to feel him pull back while still feeling his heart reach forward. That tension is exhausting. It makes you question yourself. It makes you replay conversations. It makes you wonder if silence means rejection. But silence is not always absence of feeling. Sometimes it is the sound of someone wrestling with themselves. And that battle is not yours to fight for them. I need you to hear this clearly. You are not called to rescue him from his fear. You are not responsible for clearing her shadow. You are not meant to shrink, wait in pain, or prove your worth through endurance. Love does not ask you to bleed quietly while calling it patience. Love does not demand self-abandonment as the price of connection. What I am shaping in you requires self-respect as much as compassion. Be still, not because you are powerless, but because stillness protects your heart from becoming bitter. Stillness allows me to work where you cannot reach. Stillness is not stagnation. It is trust in motion beneath the surface. While you are learning to rest your heart in me, I am dealing with the places he avoids. While you are learning to breathe again, I am exposing what fear has hidden. While you are choosing not to chase, I am teaching him what it feels like to miss what is genuine. Do not think for a moment that your tears are wasted. Every tear has been counted. Every prayer you whispered when words failed has been heard. I am not ignoring your longing. I am refining it. Because what you desire is not wrong, but the timing must be right for it to bless rather than break you. You see, if I were to bring him to you fully while fear still rules him, his confusion would become your burden. His indecision would wound you repeatedly. His unfinished past would bleed into your present. I love you too much to allow that. Love does not rush what must be rooted deeply to survive storms. Love prepares the soil before planting the seed. I know you are tired of being strong. I know you are tired of understanding. I know you are tired of waiting for clarity. You wonder how long you must carry hope without answers. You wonder if you should let go or hold on. Let me tell you this. You are not being punished with delay. You are being protected through it. Her shadow does not mean she is chosen. It means there are chapters that were never properly closed. And chapters left open tend to haunt future pages. Closure is not about reunion. It is about release. And release cannot be forced, it must be chosen. He will have to decide whether to live chained to what was or step into what could be. That decision cannot be made for him, not by you, not by me overriding his will. But I am stirring his conscience. I am unsettling his comfort. I am making it impossible for him to ignore what he feels for you without feeling the cost of avoidance. Do not chase signs. Do not analyze every silence. Do not try to read his fear as a prophecy about your future. Your future is not fragile. It is anchored in me. What is meant for you will not require you to betray yourself to keep it. What is meant for you will arrive with peace, not perpetual anxiety. I am teaching you discernment, not detachment. Discernment says, I can love without losing myself. Discernment says, I can hope without obsession. Discernment says, I trust God more than I trust outcomes. This season is shaping you into someone who knows her value so deeply that she will never beg for clarity again. I know you wish he would just be brave. I know you wish fear would loosen its grip. I know you wish her shadow would disappear so you could finally breathe freely. But listen to me, even shadows move when the light changes. And I am shifting the light. If he chooses healing, he will come to you whole, not half present. If he chooses fear, I will not leave you empty-handed. I will redirect you toward a love that does not hesitate when it recognizes you. Either way, you do not lose. Because your worth is not dependent on his readiness, rest your heart tonight. Lay down the weight of interpretation. Stop asking what you did wrong. You did not do anything wrong by loving sincerely. You did not fail by believing in something beautiful. You were brave enough to open your heart, and that courage will be rewarded, whether through transformation or redirection. I am not asking you to harden your heart. I am asking you to guard it. There is a difference. Guarding your heart means you do not allow confusion to live rent-free in your spirit. Guarding your heart means you continue to choose joy even while answers are forming. Guarding your heart means you remember who you are, even when someone else is unsure of who they are becoming. He loves you, yes. But love alone does not build a future. Courage, honesty, healing, and surrender are required too. Until fear loosens its hold and her shadow fades into history. I am holding you close, not away. I am teaching you patience that does not hurt and faith that does not diminish you. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not waiting in vain. You are being prepared for a love that meets you without shadows, without fear, without divided attention. Trust me when I say this season will make sense one day. And when it does, you will look back and realize I was never silent. I was simply working in places you could not see. Stay with me. Let me hold what you cannot fix. Let me steady what feels uncertain. Let me remind you again and again until it settles deep within you. You are deeply loved, carefully guided, and never alone. My beloved child, breathe with me for a moment. Let the noise quiet down. Let the questions rest. I know the waiting stretches you. I know your mind keeps returning to the same thought. If he loves me, why is this still so hard? That question does not offend me. I welcome it. Bring it closer, because answers born in truth heal deeper than answers born in comfort. Love can exist where fear still rules, but love cannot lead while fear holds the reins. That is what you are witnessing. His heart moves toward you, yet his steps hesitate. Not because you are unsafe, but because love exposes what fear has hidden for years. When you enter his emotional space, you awaken parts of him that were asleep for survival. You remind him of vulnerability. You remind him of risk. You remind him of what it feels like to be fully seen. And for someone who learned to protect himself through distance, that kind of closeness can feel terrifying, even when it is desired. Her shadow remains because it represents a time when he learned lessons the wrong way. It represents promises that broke, trust that fractured, and a version of himself he does not want to revisit yet has not fully buried. Shadows linger where light has not been invited. And light requires courage. It requires honesty. It requires admitting, this no longer serves me. Until he reaches that place, the shadow may follow him, but hear me clearly, it does not define his future. And it certainly does not define yours. I need you to stop interpreting his confusion as rejection. Confusion is not clarity's enemy, it is clarity's predecessor. But while he is sorting through his inner world, I am teaching you something just as important: how to stay whole while loving someone who is still becoming. That lesson will protect you for the rest of your life. You see, many lose themselves while waiting for someone else to find themselves. I refuse to let that happen to you. You were not created to pause your growth while someone else catches up. You were created to move forward, anchored in me, secure in who you are, grounded in truth rather than anxiety. This season is not about proving your patience. It is about strengthening your identity. I know there are moments when you feel invisible. Moments when silence feels louder than words. Moments when you wonder if he even realizes how deeply you feel. But listen, silence does not mean absence of impact. You have already changed him. You have already shifted his perspective. You have already made it impossible for him to settle for half-hearted connections. Even if he does not say it, even if fear delays action, the imprint remains. Still, I must protect you from one thing: waiting in a posture of pain. Waiting with clenched fists. Waiting while neglecting your own joy. That is not holy patience, that is slow erosion. I am teaching you how to wait with open hands. Where hope rests gently, not desperately. Waiting does not mean putting your life on hold. It means living fully while trusting me with what you cannot control. Do not give her shadow more power than it deserves. A shadow only exists where something once stood in the light. It cannot compete with what is alive and growing. You are not fighting a person, you are witnessing a process. And processes are messy, non-linear, and often misunderstood from the outside. I know you wonder if he thinks of you when you are not around. He does. I know you wonder if your absence would be felt. It would. But I do not want you to test that by disappearing out of hurt. I want you to choose presence in your own life. Not absence as a form of protection. The most powerful thing you can do right now is remain steady, authentic, and aligned with me. There will be moments when fear tempts you to harden your heart preemptively, to say, I will detach before I am disappointed. Be careful with that voice. Guarding your heart does not mean closing it entirely. It means setting healthy boundaries without building emotional walls. It means saying, I trust God with this, even if the outcome is not what I expect. I am working behind the scenes in ways you cannot measure. Conversations you will never hear. Realizations he will never announce publicly. Convictions forming quietly in his spirit. Fear hates exposure. And exposure is coming, not dramatically, not suddenly, but inevitably. Truth has a way of surfacing when someone can no longer ignore the cost of avoidance, but regardless of what he chooses, I need you to remember this truth: you are already chosen by me. Before he hesitated. Before she existed in his story. Before fear learned how to speak loudly. I chose you. I delight in you. I am proud of the way you love with sincerity in a world that often rewards detachment. If he steps forward healed, you will meet him as an equal, not a rescuer. If he steps back in fear, you will not be shattered, because your foundation is not built on his decision. Either way, your story continues. Strong and purposeful, stay close to me in this season. Talk to me when your thoughts spiral. Let me be the voice that quiets the doubts. Let me remind you, again and again, that nothing about this delay diminishes your worth. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to become who you are meant to be, my beloved child. Let me take you a little deeper now, because surface comfort will not sustain you where you are standing. I am not only soothing your heart, I am strengthening it. I want you to understand what is happening beneath what you can see, so you stop blaming yourself for storms you did not create. Fear is not always loud. Sometimes it disguises itself as logic, as caution, as being realistic. Sometimes fear says, I need more time, when what it truly means is, I am afraid to lose control. His fear is not about you leaving, it is about him changing. Loving you would require him to become someone he has been avoiding becoming. It would require him to confront patterns, take responsibility, and release identities he once hid behind. That is why fear resists so fiercely. Transformation costs something, and not everyone is ready to pay that price immediately. Her shadow lingers because she represents familiarity. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Familiar disappointment feels easier to manage than unfamiliar hope. This is how fear works. It convinces people that what once hurt them is still safer than what might heal them. That does not make him weak, it makes him human. But it also means he must choose courage intentionally, not accidentally. I need you to stop waiting for him to validate what I have already confirmed. You do not need his clarity to be secure in who you are. You do not need his readiness to know you are worthy of love that is present, decisive, and whole. When you begin to rest in that truth, something powerful happens. You stop leaking your peace into uncertainty. There is a reason this season feels slow. Slowness reveals motives. Slowness exposes attachment. Slowness teaches discernment. If everything moved quickly, you would mistake intensity for intimacy and attachment for alignment. I am saving you from that confusion. What I build slowly lasts longer than what is rushed in emotion. You may feel torn between hope and self-protection. One moment you believe, the next moment you want to withdraw completely. That tension does not mean you lack faith. It means you are learning balance. Balance says, I can hope without clinging. Balance says, I can care without collapsing. Balance says, I trust God more than I trust my interpretation of events. Do not interpret delay as denial. But also do not interpret potential as a promise. This is where wisdom lives, in the middle. I am not asking you to assume the worst, nor am I asking you to build your future on maybe. I am asking you to keep your heart open to me while keeping your identity intact. I see how deeply you love. I see how easily you empathize. I see how naturally you try to understand others. Those are beautiful qualities, but they must be stewarded carefully. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-neglect. Understanding without self-honor becomes quiet suffering. I am teaching you how to love without losing yourself. You are not meant to compete with someone who exists only as a memory. Memories lose power when truth matures. But maturity takes time. Until then, you must not shrink yourself to make his fear feel comfortable. You must not dim your clarity to accommodate his confusion. You must not silence your needs to appear patient. Patience does not require self-erasure. Let me tell you something important. If he is meant to walk beside you, he will meet you in the light, not ask you to wait in the shadows with him. Love does not hide. Love does not keep you guessing indefinitely. Love may take time, but it does not take your peace as payment. There will come a moment, quiet, not dramatic, when he will realize that holding on to fear costs more than letting go. That moment may lead him toward healing, or it may lead him away from what challenges him. Either outcome reveals truth. And truth, even when painful, is a gift. Do not be afraid of that revelation. You are stronger than you think. You are more anchored than you feel. And you are not alone in this waiting. I am closer than your breath. I am watching over your heart like a careful guardian, not allowing what would break you to reach you unchecked. I know you want certainty. I know you want reassurance that all of this means something specific. But sometimes the purpose of a season is not the relationship, it is the refinement. It is the way you are learning to trust yourself again. The way you are learning to listen to peace instead of anxiety. The way you are learning that love does not require you to abandon your dignity. My beloved child, let me speak to the part of you that is quietly afraid of hoping again. The part that says, I don't want to be disappointed one more time. I hear that voice. I do not judge it. That voice was born from wounds, not weakness. And I want to tend to it gently, because healing does not come through force, but through truth wrapped in love. You are standing at a threshold where old patterns are losing their grip. In the past, you may have chased clarity, overextended understanding, or tried to earn reassurance. But now, something in you is changing. You are beginning to pause instead of panic. You are beginning to observe instead of assume. You are beginning to choose peace even when answers are incomplete. That is growth, even if it feels uncomfortable. Fear often tries to convince you that if you let go emotionally, everything will slip through your fingers. But listen carefully, letting go of control is not the same as letting go of hope. Control exhausts you. Hope carried by me strengthens you. You were never meant to manage outcomes. You were meant to steward your heart. Her shadow still exists in his internal world, but it does not have permission to follow you. Do not invite it into your thoughts by rehearsing scenarios that steal your joy. Do not give it space by imagining conversations that have not happened. You do not need to understand every detail of his inner process to trust mine. There is a sacred boundary I am drawing around you right now. It is invisible, but it is real. It protects you from absorbing confusion that does not belong to you. It reminds you that empathy does not require self-sacrifice. You can care without carrying. You can love without bleeding. You can be kind without becoming small. I know you sometimes worry that if you stop trying, everything will fade. But what is truly meant to remain does not require constant effort to survive. Love that is real does not disappear because you choose rest. If anything, rest reveals truth. It shows what stands on its own and what depended on strain. You are learning to trust stillness. Stillness is not passivity. It is confidence that I am active even when you are quiet. When you stop filling the silence with worry, you make room for discernment. And discernment will guide you better than fear ever could. Let me tell you something tender, you are not behind in love. You are not late to your story. You have not missed your chance. Every season you walked through prepared you for discernment you now carry. If this connection had come earlier, it might have consumed you. Now, it is refining you. Timing matters more than intensity. Do not rush yourself into conclusions just because your heart longs for relief. Relief that comes too quickly often returns as pain later. I am teaching you to value peace over urgency. Clarity over fantasy, alignment over attachment. These lessons will protect you long after this season ends. There may be moments when he draws closer emotionally, then retreats again. That push and pull can stir old wounds. When that happens, come to me immediately. Do not spiral. Do not personalize. Remember, inconsistency reveals inner conflict, not your inadequacy. Consistency is a fruit of healing, not attraction alone. I am not asking you to shut your heart. I am asking you to anchor it. Anchor it in truth. Anchor it in self-respect. Anchor it in the knowing that you are deeply loved regardless of how anyone else shows up. When your heart is anchored, waves may move it, but they will not take it under. One day, you will look back on this season and realize it was the moment you learned how to love without losing yourself. You will recognize this as the time you stopped shrinking to fit uncertainty and started standing fully in who you are. Whether he walks forward healed or remains where he is, you will walk forward wiser. Trust me when I say, nothing about this waiting is empty. It is full of growth you cannot yet measure. It is full of strengthening you cannot yet see. It is full of protection you will one day thank me for. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay gentle with yourself. You do not need to harden your heart to survive this. You only need to stay connected to me. I will continue to guide you. One breath at a time, one truth at a time, until fear loses its voice and peace takes its place. My beloved child, let me seal this in your heart now, not with fear, not with uncertainty, but with truth that settles you instead of stirring you. Everything I have spoken to you has been leading here, to this quiet knowing that does not shout, does not rush, but remains steady even when emotions rise and fall. You are not walking away from love by choosing peace. You are not giving up by trusting me. You are not losing something precious by refusing to live in confusion. What is truly meant for you will not require you to live in constant tension. Love that comes from me carries clarity. Even when it moves slowly. It does not torment you. It does not keep you guessing endlessly. It does not ask you to carry emotional weight that is not yours. He loves you, yes. But love that is unaccompanied by courage cannot yet build what your soul needs. Until fear releases its grip and her shadow fades into memory rather than influence, I will not allow you to be entangled in uncertainty that drains your spirit. This is not me withholding joy, this is me preserving it. I want you to release the idea that your worth is being decided in this season. Your worth was settled long before this connection ever formed. Nothing about his struggle diminishes your value. Nothing about his hesitation reflects your desirability. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are already chosen by me, fully, intentionally, and permanently. There will come a moment, whether soon or later, when truth stands clearly in front of you. Either he will step forward with healed hands and a steady heart, or life will gently redirect you toward someone whose love does not hesitate at the sight of depth. Both paths are covered by my grace. Both lead you toward peace. You do not need to fear either outcome. If he comes, it will not be in confusion. It will not be in fragments. It will not be in fear. He will come whole, present, and ready to meet you where you stand. And if he does not, you will not be left with emptiness. I will fill every space that disappointment tries to claim. And I will lead you toward a love that recognizes you without shadows attached. Until then, I am asking you to live. Laugh without guilt. Rest without apology. Dream without fear of disappointment. Do not shrink your joy to appear patient. Do not dim your light to make waiting more bearable. Joy does not delay my plans, it aligns you with them. Carry hope lightly. Hold faith firmly. Let peace be your measure, not intensity. When something is from me, it will bring rest even in anticipation. When something is not ready, it will bring unrest no matter how strong the feelings are. Learn to listen to that difference. It will guide you well. I am proud of you for how you have handled this season. Proud of your restraint. Proud of your honesty. Proud of the way you have chosen growth over desperation. You are becoming someone who will not settle